Hi, my name is Dave, your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. You might be hearing me breathe a little hard because my asthma is bothering me today, but the show must go on. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I hope you enjoy the show. If you're returning, let me say I really appreciate you, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Today I'm going to talk about a mustard seed of faith. That's it. I have a question for you. How big is your faith? And I'm going to start it off with this real quick because I am going somewhere with this. Jesus said unto them, and this is Matthew 17:20. Jesus said unto them, because your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Wow. That's it right there. Have you ever seen a mustard seed? And the reason why I said, I had to look at this again, and because I couldn't remember. I know a mustard seed is small and it grows into a large plant. But the funny thing is when you actually see it up against something else. So depending on the grain, if you get a mustard seed and put it right next to a grain of rice, depending on the grain, it will be 1/3 of that grain of rice. And that is how small a mustard seed is. So Jesus is saying that if you had faith that small, you can move mountains. Now, I don't know about you, but I already realized that either my faith is nowhere near a mustard seed because I tried to move a mountain. It could be metaphorical. It could be, I know his word is all knowing, all powerful, and I am not doubting him. I'm doubting myself. Jesus, I believe everything Jesus did. I believe everything that was written in the Bible that Jesus had performed, all his miracles. I believe that he is the Son of God, and I believe in the Holy Ghost. I believe in the trilogy, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But I could tell you right now, my belief in myself, having that kind of faith, I'm saying, well, I want to bring my faith up to the next level. What about you? Do you have strong faith? Do you believe your faith is as big as a mustard seed? Or are you falling short like I am? And I know I'm not the only one who's falling short. I know there's a lot of us that fall short of having that kind of faith. I have faith, but I don't think my faith is as strong as a mustard seed. So I question my own faith. I don't question the trilogy. I don't question Jesus. I don't question God. I believe in everything that they represent and what they have done and what he's still doing. So I just think my faith is not as small as a mustard seed. I think it's a whole lot smaller. So when you try to take a mustard seed and you probably take that in half, maybe my faith is that small. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. But how do we measure faith? Okay, so we know that we can build our faith through reading the word. And, the word is powerful. In the beginning, it said in the beginning was the word, and the word was everything. So therefore, and the word was power too. So, God said, let it be light. Boom. It was light. So that kind of faith, let it be light, and instantly there's light. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about the fact that, a mustard seed is small. I have a lot of faith. Have you ever said to yourself, just how much faith do I have? Not in something, but how much faith do I have Because he's saying if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Now, we're not going to say he meant, because, we know that Jesus spoke, and he spoke where he said, okay, well, they need to understand something. And metaphorically, he might mean something as large as a mountain. Or he could have represent mountain, because look at how when his disciples was afraid on the ocean, and he was like, oh yay of little faith, and he calmed down the seas, the oceans, the water. Let's just say he spoke to water and the water obeyed. That's the kind of faith we're talking about today. I want that kind of faith. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I come so short, it's ridiculous. So do I read the Bible? Yes, I read the Bible mostly day and night. In the morning when I get up, and at night, sometimes I just don't get a chance to read and I'm tired, but I say my prayers. No matter what, I'm saying my prayers in the morning, at night, and sometimes during the day. And do I speak to God? Yes, I speak to God. So I don't know what you do, but think about the faith, the power of that kind of faith, what you can do, what we can do as a people, having that kind of faith. That is amazing. As small as a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible unto you. I'm thinking, I'm feeling the loss of my wife, and it's so difficult for me right now. Every day I wake up and not to have her there, or not to be able to take care of her, talk to her, laugh with her, even her getting angry with me, I miss. But to have the kind of faith to make her well, I fell so short, it was ridiculous. I question my own faith. I don't question yours. So I want to make that perfectly clear. I'm just posing a question to you. How strong or how big is your faith? So I want you to think about that when you leave here, or whatever it is that you're doing, working out, driving. I want you to think about how large is your faith. And if it's not as big as a mustard seed, I just want you to think about this. Should I make it, or work toward it being increased? Should I work toward my faith increasing? And if so, how? I do know through reading the word, you can increase your faith. I do know that. But I fall short in so many ways. And I think I even block myself sometimes. My wife often said, wow, you're so talented. But every time you're about to be very successful, you sabotage yourself. I kind of got angry at that, because I couldn't see it. I didn't see it until someone else said, you know what? I brung that up to someone else and told them what my wife said. And they said, wow, I think she hit the nail on the head. And I looked at them like they were crazy. So I question my own faith in me, not you, but I want you to start asking yourself, if Jesus made that statement, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, everything or anything is not impossible unto you. You can move mountains. I'll say it again. If your faith is small as a mustard seed, you would be able to move mountains. Are you a mountain mover? Do you move mountains? If not, would you like to? Would you like to increase your faith? If so, join me, because I encourage you to increase your faith through reading a little bit more of the Bible every day. And, I think that is the key, talking with him and conversing with him, and not only having that faith, but also build your level of belief, knowing what he has done in your life and how he has impacted your life is another way that you can tell that God is real. God is here. God is listening. In the midst of this world, in this crazy world where all this is happening, God is still providing miracles. And I'm not saying that you're due for a miracle. I wouldn't begin to tell you anything like that. I've seen a lot of death in the past 3 years. So I don't question that. I know that there's a time for everything. It's a time to weep. It's a time to mourn. It's a time to cry. It's a time for joy. I understand that. So I'm not going to question anything. All I want to do is just increase my faith, so I can be one of those who can say my faith is almost as small as a mustard seed, because I know if it's getting close to a mustard seed, then I would still be able to do more than I can imagine ever right now. I pose that question to you. How large is your faith? We think about it, and you get in a car every day. You have faith enough to know that you can get to point A to point B, right? So if you can get to point A to point B, and you have faith not in other people, but in your own ability to get behind that wheel and drive safely. So, and you also want to make sure that, within over time, you're driving not only for yourself, but for all the knuckleheads out there who don't drive safely and take more chances than they should. So when you first start to drive, you're a little nervous, you're a little scared. So when you're starting to learn how to drive, you got to get behind the driver's seat every chance you get, so you can become better, so you can become a little more comfortable behind that wheel, and so you can become an expert at driving. So there are a lot of people who've been driving for up 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, even 10 years, 5 years, or what have you, and nobody's an expert because they're basically develop bad habits along the way, and they take those bad habits and enhance them. And I could tell you right now, I'm one of them. So yeah, do I stop before the stop sign? No, I stop after the stop sign. Yeah, okay, so I digress for a moment. But what I meant to say is, I said all of that to say this. You have to practice to become good at driving. And you have faith to get behind that wheel. And that's something that you can see. But imagine this, having a small enough faith to get behind the wheel as a mustard seed. Wow, think about that. Imagine your faith is so small as a mustard seed or smaller to get behind the wheel of a car and drive effectively and safely to all your destinations. Okay, so it's just food for thought. My name is Dave. You're listening to The Last Podcast. I really wanted to speak on that, and it was on my mind all day. So if you want to reach out, you can reach out to me at The Last Podcast 443@gmail.com. Look, I answer all my emails, and I look forward to it, and I thank you guys for listening. It means the world to me. And one of the reasons why I continue to go and do this podcast is because I once asked quite a few people, how did you become successful? And they say never quit, never stop podcasting. But for me, if I can just touch the heart and minds of one person, I think what I'm doing right now is well worth it. And it's something I enjoy. So again, this is The Last Podcast. My name is Dave. Until tomorrow, you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.